Welcome to the anniversary celebration of the League of Women Voters of Glenview-Glencoe. 75 years for Glenview and 80 years for Glencoe. We asked a number of past presidents, going back as far as 1975, to recall a memorable moment or two from their term. Here are some of those memories.
My name is Shawley, and this is how I became a member of the League of Women Voters for more than 50 years. It has been an amazing experience. I joined the Flossmoor Olympia Fields League in 1968. It was very exciting because this movement to develop a new Illinois Constitution, which was adopted in 1970, was something that was very important to the Flossmoor Olympia Fields League. Our family, in 1971, with Steve as a new doctor working at Lutheran General Hospital, it was excited, if not overwhelmed, in our new Glenview location. I soon joined the same study group that I had joined in Flossmoor, and I also began to learn about Glenview, the Glenview League, and also the Glenview League was putting forth strong efforts to support a broader scope of community projects that would enhance the Glenview community. For example, the Glenview League joined with other organizations to help establish the Grove, be able to acquire the Wagner Farm. In the period when I was a president was 1975 to 1977. League members, I think, that if we look back on all of the things that we have done as league members, we realize that we've picked up many skills and experiences that have turned out to be important, that we applied our skills to league projects. In conclusion, I want to give credit to the National League of Women Voters Convention of 1975 to 1977 for giving notice to the folks who guided the presidential debates on election years. These debates did not happen during some gap years, so the National League of Women Voters spoke decisively during this convention to the people who were challenged to have more television opportunities for the public to observe, hear, and speak, to the presidential candidates, and especially for the candidates to speak openly to the public about how they wanted their views to be explained directly and honestly to the members of the public. And extended process, and that basically was the way that I felt I could best leave my league opportunities. And after 1977, then I had some other things that I started doing, but I never left the league, and I'm still in the league, and the league will have to put up with me, even if I can hardly drag myself there, but it's been a tremendous.
I'm Carole Weber. I joined this league soon after we moved to Glenview, and just a few months after my youngest was born. She's now 49, so that gives you a pretty good idea of how time flies. She used to call us the Leaky Women Voters. A few years after joining, having done membership, editing, the challenge, and fundraising, I became vice president under Judy Beck as president. One day Judy called to tell me that she had decided to go back to work for the EPA. And she reminded me what happens to vice presidents when presidents resign. So I became president in late 78 at the tender age of 37. Here are a few notable national events from 1979. Jimmy Carter was president. The U.S. population was 225 million. There was the first news account of someone being killed by a robot. The 3 Mile Island disaster. The first gay and lesbian civil rights march in D.C. I honestly don't remember much detail about Glenview at that time, but I do recall a few things about how we operated the league then. For example, whenever we had presentations of studies or other projects, and there were many, we would repeat each program 3 times, morning, afternoon, and evening, to ensure that everyone could attend. And they did. And for some, the best perk. All of us young mothers in the Glenview League loved our babysitting service. In fact, one of our older members who had very lively twin toddler boys said to me, in the funniest and most bizarre league comment ever, and I quote, "I loved the sitter service so much I would have joined the KKK if they had it." Yes, life was somewhat simpler in 1979, but we still dealt with serious issues at all levels. And as an unexpected bonus, we made good friends and cherished relationships. So here, tonight, in 2022, some things have not changed. Happy anniversary.
Hi, I'm Barbara Marsh. I've been in Glenview since 1970, and I've been involved. I initially joined League when I lived in Stevens Point, Wisconsin in 1962, and it was very interesting. Wisconsin has a lot of community colleges, like we do here, but they're really small because the towns are small. But most of the things, I initially started out in voter service, and I did voter registration in Portage County, Wisconsin. I'm sure none of you have heard of it. And we got people to vote. I know where my husband and I lived. We voted at a motel, Yellowstone Motel. And I won't even tell you one person he voted for. And I asked him why, but he never would say. So then we moved here. We got active in the Glenview League, doing voter service again, and membership, and lots of different things. And
how did you become president? How did you work your way up the ranks?
I took money from people. Because I had different jobs, and a group of people who lived in Glenview who ran an organization called COWS, C.O.W.S, and that stood for Citizens Organized for Wagner. And they really didn't want to do any development per se after they decided against the swimming pool thing. They wanted just to be able to drive visitors around and say, and this is where our farm is. And the family owned it for I don't know how many years. They came from Trier, Germany. A lot of the names around here are kind of connected with that. But we thought it was kind of foolish to just have all that land and not use it for something. But now they've improved the farm so much. They've gotten the land already. They built a museum. And they have automatic sprinkling because they've got a manager that they've hired. And people come all the time, and there's events there, and they make money at it.
It's quite a gem.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Josie Hamilton. I was president from 2002 to 2004. This is what stands out to me from 20 years ago. We started a program to give out good citizenship awards at the middle schools. Springman, Goff Middle School, Gemini and Niles, and Northbrook Junior High all participated. We asked students to write an essay nominating a fellow student who they thought displayed good citizenship. Our committee chose students based on the written essays and awarded prizes to both the winner of the contest and the person nominating them. Our local businesses gave out prizes: Glenview State Bank, the Dairy Bar, Good and Fresh Pizza. The award was presented at award night at the schools. The thing that I found the most interesting about this is that every year the most compassionate essays came from Gemini and Niles, which was the poorest and most diverse of all the schools. And speaking of diversity, our league always wanted a more diverse membership. Our league was invited to a lunch on my porch to ask questions to a group of women. Most of them were my neighbors. They asked them about living in Glenview. The women came from various countries like Iran, Greece, Russia, India, and one was American, but she had an Egyptian husband. The part I thought was interesting was how important it was for the foreign-born mothers to do what they could to help their children assimilate, whether it was buying them the right clothes or giving them a PB&J sandwich for lunch, something they couldn't imagine having or eating in their birth country. The American woman who was married to the Egyptian came to my house wearing a hijab. She wanted the culture here to change and not have her children assimilate into American culture. I realize this was a very, very small sample, so I'm not making a social statement other than to say that I thought it was interesting. And my last comment is in regard to a candidates forum for the school board. We asked candidates a couple of silly questions that we were shocked when we heard the response. One was about teaching creationism in the schools, and the other was about teaching sex education. There were candidates that were clearly on the wrong side of those issues. Today, I wouldn't be shocked to hear those answers, but 20 years ago, in Glenview, I never expected that response. This is why today it is so important to have candidates forums for local elections and ask the right questions. I'm so happy to be part of an organization that believes in educating the public, making immigrants welcome, and thus we create good citizens.